I'm Ethan's gilded cage bird. I'm slacking off in bed. After a while, I start complaining about pain and fatigue. Shopping is as brisk as flying, desperately spending his money. Until I saw a row of comments. The villainous supporting actress's good days are about to end. The beloved female lead is about to meet the male lead. She frames the female lead in every way possible, and is gradually disliked by the male lead. The male lead hasn't even dumped her yet, and she's already run off with his money and a fake rich kid. In the end, the fake rich kid robs her of all her savings, harvests her kidney, and she dies miserably in a rented house. She deserves it. Only a good girl like the female lead, who is kind and doesn't worship money, deserves the boss's love. I don't want to lose this job that pays me $300,000 a month. From now on, I'll stop goofing off. I'll be like I'm on steroids in bed, not giving the female lead a single chance. Ethan said with a non-smiling smile, "Are you trying to give me a heart attack so you can inherit all my assets?" 1. Ethan insisted that I dress up as a bunny girl and engage in debauchery with me in broad daylight. He wanted me to do this and that, and then that and this. Every job is annoying. I whined while lying on top of him, my back aches, my legs hurt, and I'm too tired to even move my fingers. Ethan pinched my waist hard. He loves leaving finger marks, kiss marks, and teeth marks on me the most. When you're shopping, you zoom around faster than me. I didn't hear you complaining about being tired. He wasn't expecting anything from me anyway. He flipped over and switched our positions. The movements were bigger and fiercer. After he was satisfied, Ethan got up and put on his clothes. Seeing that he was in a good mood, I crawled over, hugged his waist from behind, and plastered my face against his back in a clingy manner. "Ethan, I like this bag. Buy it for me." I sneakily held out my phone. Ethan directly cleared my shopping cart. I stared at the 26 items waiting to be received and kissed his face. "You're the best boss in the world, thanks." I don't know what I said wrong. The smile on the corner of his mouth disappeared, and the atmosphere around him became cold and condensed. I looked at him nervously. "Tonight, come with me to the celebration banquet." "Oh, okay." Ethan's expression eased slightly, and I took the opportunity to get closer and give him another passionate kiss. Suddenly, a row of comments appeared in front of me. The villainous supporting actress's good days are about to end. The beloved female lead is about to meet the male lead. She frames the female lead in every way possible, and is gradually disliked by the male lead. The male lead hasn't even dumped her yet, and she's already run off with his money and a fake rich kid. In the end, the fake rich kid robs her of all her savings, harvests her kidney, and she dies miserably in a rented house. She deserves it. Only a good girl like the female lead, who is kind and doesn't worship money, deserves the boss's love. "Why are you shivering? Are you cold?" I hugged Ethan tighter and said, "Yeah, hug me." Ethan hugged me. I looked at the comments, my heart in a mess. 2. I hooked my arm around Ethan's arm and walked into the celebration banquet venue. I saw a swaying figure. Everyone's attention was focused on her. Ginger's already outstanding enough. But compared to Shayna, she pales in comparison. I've never seen such a stunning cheap-how beauty. Everyone praised her. And I became the control group to highlight her beauty. I snorted coldly, unhappy. The woman turned around. When I saw her face, comments appeared in front of me again. The male and female leads are about to drink spiked wine, and then have a crazy night. From then on, the male lead will develop a taste for the female lead and never touch the villainous supporting actress again. So, this Shayna was the female lead, Ethan's official partner. I can't lose this job that pays $300,000 a month, a job where the sugar daddy sporadically showers me with gold coins. I must change the plot. Shayna walked to Ethan in a dignified manner and picked up a glass of red wine from the waiter's tray. "Mr. Ethan, hello. I'm the director of Rose Fall. My name is Shayna. Thank you very much for investing in my movie. I'll toast to you." "Those 2 glasses of wine are the problem. They absolutely can't drink them." "I'll drink for him." I picked up another glass of wine. I pretended to step on my skirt and lunged at Shayna, knocking over the wine in her hand. Both glasses of wine shattered on the floor at the same time. Okay, mission accomplished. I don't know why Shayna couldn't stand still. She looks thin, but she's very strong. She dragged me down with her. It looked like her hand was about to land on the glass shards. At the last moment, I pushed her away with all my strength. My left hand landed on the glass shards, leaving a cut that bled a lot. My expression and actions were carefully designed, crying beautifully and pitifully. "Shayna, I have no grudge against you. Why did you push me onto the glass shards?" Shayna couldn't explain herself and hurriedly explained like a frightened rabbit, "It wasn't me, you fell on it on purpose." I looked up at Ethan at the most beautiful angle. Ethan looked at me with an especially cold look. He was angry, angrier than ever before. I was uncertain. Could it be that he was already completely captivated by the female lead after just meeting her? I showed him my bleeding hand. Ethan, it hurts. Ethan leaned over and picked me up in his arms. Shayna grabbed his sleeve. Ethan didn't stop. She grabbed empty air. Mr. Ethan, you can see that she did it on purpose, right? Ethan ignored her and strode into the lounge. I gave her a triumphant smile. Shayna stood there blankly. The doctor came in with a medical kit to treat my wound. Ethan has been in a high position for a long time and rarely gets angry. Once he gets angry, he will definitely make people lose a layer of skin, being extremely cruel. Next month's allowance is completely deducted. That's 300,000. My sky is falling. Why? To teach you a lesson. If you didn't want me to drink with her, you could have told me directly. There was no need to hurt yourself. He is the victor of family struggles, a ruthless person who fought his way through a bloody path. My little tricks can't hide from his eyes. But if Shayna drank that glass of wine and was influenced by the plot, they would probably still accidentally sleep together in the end. Injuring my left hand to disrupt their first night was worth it. My throat was almost smoking. I coquettishly said, Ethan, how about giving me 200,000? Ethan was too lazy to pay attention to me and went out. I followed behind him, absolutely not letting him have another chance to contact the female lead. But I underestimated the power of the plot. The red wine was tampered with by Sean, the young master of the underworld. He's the Yandere male second lead in this book, wanting to force his love on the female lead. Sean threatened Shayna at the celebration banquet, wanting her to be with him. Shayna was tough and broke Sean's head with a red wine bottle. She rushed to Ethan and took out an antique pocket watch. Mr. Ethan, do you still remember that you were seriously injured 7 years ago, and I saved you? You left me this pocket watch, saying that I could make a request of you in the future. Mr. Ethan, I want to live in your Zhanhui villa. I was about to stop her. Ethan said, okay. By saying this, he was publicly stating that he would protect her. Sean chased after him, covering his head, his eyes full of unwillingness, but he couldn't move the person Ethan wanted to protect. There was a new spoiler in the comments. The female lead moves into Zhanhui villa. The villainous supporting actress uses all means to harm her, but she cleverly resolves them. Ethan gradually falls in love with Shayna in their interactions. I subconsciously clenched my fist, and fresh blood seeped through the gauze. Then we'll fight slowly. 3. We returned to Zhanhui villa. After Ethan knew that Shayna was his savior, his attitude towards her was indeed different. Ginger, arrange a room for Miss Shayna. Her food, clothing, and expenses will be the same as yours. I was unhappy in my heart, but I smiled on my face. Got it. I hadn't even started scheming yet. Shayna took people to dig up my vegetable garden and plant flowers instead. I ran downstairs angrily, heartbroken to see the discarded vegetables. Shayna smiled. Growing vegetables in such a high-end mansion isn't elegant enough. Look, how beautiful these roses are. Shayna was wearing a little white dress and a floral headscarf. Under the sunlight, she smiled purely and beautifully. She picked a flower and pinned it in my hair. Good Ginger, don't be angry. I'll help you take beautiful photos standing in the flowers. But I just love growing vegetables. It's a pity not to grow vegetables in such fertile land. If I take one step back, I will have to take every step back. I rolled up my sleeves, picked the flowers, and said to the servants, pick all these flowers for me and make them into flower cakes. Shayna grabbed my arm, her eyes reddened, and said anxiously, stop. Don't touch my flowers. I pushed her away. I didn't use much strength. She hit her head on the rockery, drawing blood. I was dumbfounded. Shayna looked at someone behind me, weak and gentle. Mr. Ethan, the flowers you didn't have time to see back then. I planted them for you. Don't blame Ginger. She didn't push me on purpose. I just couldn't stand still. Her words were barbed, and I could tell that I was a green tea bitch. I turned around. Ethan looked at the flower in my hair and said absent-mindedly, this flower is indeed very beautiful. There was a unique memory between them. I crawled darkly and twistedly in my heart, very jealous of Shayna. Ethan personally took Shayna to the hospital. I sat in the living room, restless. Hearing the sound of the car, I hid behind the curtains to observe secretly. Shayna had bandages wrapped around her head. She was dizzy when she got out of the car and staggered into Ethan's arms. Ethan asked the driver to support her and took a box into the house first. He gave me the box. What is this? Flower cakes, didn't you want to eat them? I opened the box and ate the cakes silently. She's fine, you don't have to feel guilty. I don't. Ethan has many properties in Kyoto. Moving out of Zhanhui Villa is a good way to change the plot. Ethan, how about we move? The penthouse in the city is pretty good. It's okay to stay there occasionally, but not to move. This is the former residence of Ethan's deceased mother. In his heart, this is his home. I saw Shayna walking in out of the corner of my eye. I cupped Ethan's face, kissed his lips, kissing him until there was a string of saliva. Ethan, carry me upstairs. I want you. Ethan's breathing quickened. He picked me up with one arm like a child and hurried upstairs. I hugged his neck and glared at Shayna gloomily. She wanted to steal my golden goose. No way. 4. The next morning, I saw that the flowers in the yard had been shoveled away. Workers were repairing my vegetable garden. Shayna was picking up the fallen flowers. I walked over, unable to hide my smugness. Ethan is still on my side. You still need to work harder. Ginger, how long can you rely on your looks to serve someone? If you put the effort you put into men into your career, you would have become successful like me a long time ago. I don't like her condescending attitude. Her family is a film family. She used her family's resources to make a blockbuster movie right after graduating from college. And I was kicked out by my parents to work and support the family right after graduating from junior high school. She doesn't understand the plight of bottom-level girls. Her words have a kind of Marie Antoinette naivety. I laughed. We villainous supporting actresses never internalize our problems. If you're so amazing, why do you still have to seek Ethan's protection by seeking favors? The way you look at him, you can't wait to strip him naked. Shayna blushed and straightened her back. I'm not like you. I truly admire him and don't want his money. I will make Mr. Ethan see your true colors. I was a little curious about what Shayna would do. I slumped on the sofa, watched short dramas, and crunched on potato chips. Happy as a god. Shayna and Ethan came in together. She listed the monthly expenses of Zhanhui Villa in detail, proving how much I had profited while managing the house. Also, the antique calligraphy and paintings in the living room have been sold by her, and the ones on display now are all high imitations. Mr. Ethan, it's hard to guard against a thief within the family. I continued to watch the short dramas without even raising my head. Ethan asked, Miss Shayna, would you get angry at your cat for breaking a water glass? No. Shayna finally understood. My actions were like a cat breaking a water glass to him. Thank you very much for reminding me of these things, but I'm the kind of owner who can tolerate it tearing down the house in order to play with it. Shayna left in embarrassment. Ethan sat on the sofa. I took the pillow and knelt on it to massage his legs. My movements were very smooth, and I had to show my attitude of admitting my mistakes. Learn from her. Her level is much higher than yours. I rubbed my face against his leg. As long as you help me, I will be invincible. Stop trying to be clever and acting cute. I didn't treat you badly, yet you stole from me. You said you weren't angry anymore. Just treat it as throwing a few coins to make me happy. Ethan snorted. I knew he wasn't really angry. I sat on his lap and continued scrolling through short videos. We gilded cage birds have no heart, we're only after the sugar daddy's money. The biggest taboo in this line of work is falling in love with the client. He plays me, I play him, it's all just for fun. These lines were too fitting. I immediately turned off the short video and leaned over to nibble on his Adam's apple. Ethan, you know I truly love you, right? He scoffed. I'm not afraid that you're only after my money. I just have money. Ethan's hand snaked under the hem of my clothes. I saw new comments again. The male lead encounters a life-threatening danger, and the female lead saves him again. The male lead's heart is stirred for the first time by the female lead. I bit my lip and buried my face in the hollow of his neck. This time, it's my turn to save him. 5. Ethan's grandmother's birthday banquet. As the daughter of the Shaw family, Shayna also received an invitation. The gift-giving segment. The gift I gave was jewelry worth $10 million. Grandma Ethan didn't even lift her head, coldly saying, You're still spending Ethan's money. There's no sincerity at all. Shayna's gift was a handmade medicinal pillow to help with sleep and calm the nerves. Grandma Ethan held the medicinal pillow, loved it, and said with satisfaction, You're the one with filial piety. I haven't been sleeping well lately. The smell of the medicinal pillow makes me feel refreshed. The crowd marveled, casting admiring glances at Shayna. At the same time, they looked at me with disdain. Shayna looked at me rather triumphantly. I opened the jewelry box, leaned closer to Grandma Ethan, and said with a smile, Grandma, I heard Ethan say that when Grandpa's business failed, you sold your dowry to help him get back on his feet. I searched for a long time before finding this piece of jewelry. Grandma Ethan examined the jewelry, overjoyed and tearful. I've been looking for it for so many years and haven't found it. Child, you have a heart. The guests praised Grandma Ethan as a virtuous wife, saying that the Ethan family owed its success to her. They pleased the old lady greatly. I picked up Shayna's pillow and smelled it. Dragon bone and magnetite can indeed help with sleep, but they are slightly toxic, and the side effect is damage to the digestive function. Grandma already has a weak stomach and intestines. When using these medicinal materials, it is still necessary to strictly follow the guidance of a traditional Chinese medicine doctor and use the medicine with caution. Grandma Ethan's expression instantly changed, and she reprimanded Shayna, "Miss Shaw, if you don't understand traditional Chinese medicine, don't misuse medicine and harm people." Shayna hurriedly explained, "It's only slightly toxic. It takes a large dose to have side effects. My pillow is very safe." The guest sighed, "Slightly toxic is still toxic. Madam Ethan, you must not use it." Fortunately, Miss Ginger understands traditional Chinese medicine. Otherwise, it would be too much of a pain if your old body was harmed. "I don't understand traditional Chinese medicine." Knowing that Shayna was making medicinal pillows, I researched the pharmacology and secretly memorized it. I totally pulled that off. I threw the pillow aside and gave Shayna an evil smile. She was so angry that her hands were shaking. I looked up and saw Ethan standing on the second floor looking at us. 6. Ethan sent me a message, "You've improved." I seized the opportunity and replied, "Then next month's allowance." I didn't even finish typing the words. He replied first, still deducted. I gritted my teeth, "Then I won't serve you next month. Catstrike.jpg. He replied instantly, "Denied." Followed by a second message, "Only giving 200,000. Negotiation successful." I also hold his weakness in my hands. Ethan hooked his lips at me, turned around, and returned to the study to continue discussing official business with his uncles. Seeing my interaction with Ethan, the seeds of jealousy took root and sprouted in Shayna's eyes. I was the one who saved Ethan back then. I should be his white moonlight. Why doesn't he even look at me and instead likes a vain, money-worshipping, dead green tea like you? I scoffed, "What's wrong, miss? Did you finally realize that the world doesn't revolve around you? Are you breaking down?" Shayna was angered and left. "In fact, what I'm fighting for is not the man at all. It's the monthly salary of 300,000, and the many expensive gifts. Shayna might as well just give me a price. If she gives me more than Ethan, maybe I would really consider leaving Ethan. She has never been poor. Never gone hungry and had to steal food to eat. Never been unable to afford sanitary napkins and had to use rough paper instead, staining her pants and being laughed at by classmates. Never used laundry detergent to take a bath. Never been scolded by her own father for wasting gas because she wanted to boil water to wash her hair in winter. Poverty makes me feel cheap and unworthy of good things. People are always trapped for life by what they couldn't get when they were young. A heavenly blessed woman like Shayna can't understand how deeply we money lovers love money. 7. The birthday banquet hadn't started yet. The garden of the Ethan family mansion was beautifully decorated, so I went out to wander around. Unconsciously, I walked to a remote area. Suddenly, someone pushed me hard from behind. I rolled down dozens of steps, hitting my head and bleeding. In my blurred vision, I saw Shayna standing high up, looking at me coldly. I actually smiled. If she's no longer kind, will she not be able to be with Ethan? When I woke up, it was pitch black all around. I couldn't help but make a joke. "Erkin, it's so dark. Didn't you light a candle?" Ethan took my hand. "Don't be afraid. The blindness is only temporary. The doctor said that the blood clot is pressing on the optic nerve. When the blood clot dissolves, your vision will gradually recover." That's so strange. Ethan can always perceive my true emotions. I squeezed his hand and grabbed his sleeve with the other hand. "How long before I can see?" 1 or 2 months. "Really? Really?" I felt a little relieved. Ethan asked sternly, "Did Shayna push you?" Shayna was also there, and she said nervously, "I didn't, it wasn't me." The comments didn't show when and where Ethan would encounter danger. I'm blind now, really weak and unable to take care of myself. I'm afraid I won't be able to save him. Shayna has the female lead halo and can save him. Even if I want Shayna to get lost, I still have to protect her first. Only then can I protect my wealth and glory. It wasn't her, my high heels twisted, and I accidentally fell. With my vindictive nature, exaggerating a grievance tenfold, it's impossible for me to protect Shayna at this time. Therefore, Ethan believed my words. He pulled me into his arms, his voice full of warning. "Miss Shaw, I kept my promise and let you live in Zhanhui Villa, just to repay you for your past kindness. I don't like you. Please behave. In the future, if you dare to do anything to hurt Ginger, I won't let you go. I'm not a good person. Remember that." Their script is a tragic romance. In the early stages, Ethan really didn't love her and protected me more. Shayna said tremblingly, "Mr. Ethan, how can you think of me like that? I've always wanted to be good friends with Ginger, how could I hurt her?" Shayna left sadly. I said to Ethan, "I had a master calculate that we both have a bloody disaster recently. Mine has come true. Be careful when you go out and take more bodyguards with you." "Okay." I grunted and made a huge demand, "Ethan, my head hurts so much." It takes 10 bags and 8 big gold bracelets to cure it. Ethan tightened his arms and hugged me tighter. I'll buy them all for you. He makes me always feel precious. If he really falls in love with Shayna as the plot says, I should be very sad. I'm plotting all sorts of bad things in my heart and must stop them from falling in love. Shayna attacked me first. The next time I do something bad, I can use heavy methods with peace of mind. 8. Sudden blindness is a terrible thing. I could hardly move and fell many times. Ethan had the servants pad all the furniture to prevent me from getting injured. I felt very insecure and was particularly dependent on Ethan. Even when he went to the bathroom, I had to grab his clothes and wait for him. But he cares a lot about his image. He wouldn't let me stick to him when he was taking a dump. I scratched the door outside. Ethan, I don't mind you. Stay quiet for 10 minutes, and I'll reward you with 100,000. Okay. Alipay transfer, 100,000. I hugged my phone, grinning. Ethan personally fed me, bathed me. Although every time he bathed me, he would start doing indescribable things with me. I no longer slacked off. I was like I was on steroids in bed, not giving Shayna a single chance. I also did things that he had asked me to do before, but I had always refused. Satisfying some of his strange fetishes. Ethan's breathing was erratic. Ginger, are you trying to give me a heart attack so you can inherit all my assets? I asked even though I knew the answer. Do you like it? Ethan used practical actions to show me that he was obsessed with me. When he was moved, he asked me, Ginger, do you like it? I've always been doing this kind of thing with a work mindset. But the body's reactions are always very honest. I also felt very comfortable. Ethan chuckled, unable to hide his smugness. I hugged him tightly and said, Xiaosheng, Ethan, you're the only man I have. But I'm sure you're the most compatible with me. He pinched my waist, his palms hot. It wouldn't be bad to die on you. A chaotic night. 9. This day, Ethan arranged to discuss things with a big shot at the clubhouse. He opened a private room for me and ordered many of my favorite snacks. Secretary Chen and Mama Wang are here to take care of you. If you need anything, just tell them. I'll be right back. You sit here and don't wander around. I was amused by him. I actually felt fatherly love from Ethan. Ethan instructed Secretary Chen a few words before leaving. I was eating snacks and drinking tea, feeling inexplicably flustered. The comments are not seen through vision. It's more like a signal transmitted through brainwaves. In a blurry background, I clearly saw new comments. Inside the clubhouse, a group of gangsters with guns break in and assassinate the male lead. The female lead turns off the power, buying time for the male lead. Finally, a gangster hiding in the shadows fires a shot at the male lead, and the female lead takes the bullet for the male lead. Ethan is discussing important matters with the big shot, and his phone will be turned off. I broke out in a cold sweat. Secretary Chen, quickly go upstairs and notify Mr. Ethan. A group of armed gangsters is coming. They want to kill him. Secretary Chen rushed upstairs. I said to Mama Wang, please go turn off the power. Mama Wang knocked over the snacks, panicking, they have guns. I'm just an employee, I don't want to die. Mama Wang fled. It's human nature to choose to protect herself. I understand her. I am the most important. If I were in her place, I would run first out of respect. During this period of time, the blood clot pressing on my optic nerve had dissipated somewhat. I'm not completely blind now. I can see the general outlines of objects. I hurried to call the police. Ethan's bodyguards were downstairs. Gunfire and fighting sounds were already coming. It would probably be too late by the time the police arrived. I couldn't sit still and die. I groped my way out to turn off the power. The surrounding area was full of fleeing people. I stumbled all the way, falling all the time, bruising my face. Then, I got lost. I, a blind person, couldn't find where the power switch was. Just then, the power went out. Did Shayna turn off the power? I breathed a sigh of relief, praying that Ethan could turn the situation around and turn bad luck into good luck. The gunfire gradually subsided, and the gangsters were subdued. The power came back on. I crashed into a familiar embrace. Ethan's voice had never been so flustered. Ginger, are you alright? I'm fine, are you hurt? I'm fine too. I was constantly watching the corner of the stairs, seeing a blurry silhouette raising a gun and aiming at Ethan. Careful. I pushed Ethan away with all my strength. The bullet grazed my cheek, leaving a bloody mark. I was so scared that I fell to the ground, trembling and shaking. Finally, the last gangster was subdued. Shayna ran over and asked anxiously, Mr. Ethan, are you alright? Ethan picked up the scared out of his wits me from the ground, holding me in a princess carry. I huddled in his arms, trembling like a sieve. Ethan kissed my forehead a few times, saying in a trembling voice, it's okay, you weren't hit. He repeated it again, as if to reassure himself, you weren't hit. Ethan directly ignored Shayna and rushed to take me to the doctor. I gradually regained my senses. Hey hey hey. The female lead's shining moment was stolen by me. 10. Ethan sent people to turn off the power after he knew there were armed gangsters. Shayna didn't even get the credit for pulling the switch. I lay in the hospital bed, leisurely munching on an apple. Ethan asked me, "How did you know there were gangsters? And how did you know they had guns?" The most reasonable explanation is that I am a spy planted by the mastermind next to Ethan, who defected on the spot. If I said I could see the spoiler comments, no one would believe it. They would also think I was crazy and lock me in a mental hospital. I really couldn't explain myself. The master calculated it. Where is that master? I'd like to meet him too. I met him by chance on the street. He's destined to meet me, but not you. I covered my chest and acted coquettishly. Ethan, stop asking. I don't feel well. Can you hear how panicked my heart is? Ethan is naturally suspicious and doesn't believe my outrageous story. He rubbed my chest and said helplessly, "Ginger, tell me the truth. Even if you're a spy, I won't blame you." My nose twinged, and I felt very wronged. I rubbed my eyes, forcing back the tears. I'm not a spy. I'm not. At a time like this, you could clearly use tears to charm me. Why aren't you crying? Ethan sighed, hugged me, and said seriously, "This matter is over, I will never mention it again." When he says over, he really means it. Soon, Ethan found out that the mastermind was his second uncle, Horace Ethan. Horace Ethan was imprisoned. The crisis was resolved, and I was about to tell Ethan that Shayna pushed me. Just then, the comments refreshed again. The male lead will encounter a new life-threatening danger, and the female lead will save him. True love in adversity, the male and female lead's relationship advances by leaps and bounds. Here we go again. Will it ever end? It seems there is a mysterious force in this world correcting the increasingly divergent plot. Shayna, as Ethan's lifesaver, must continue to stay by Ethan's side. 11. I thought about my tragic ending of having all my savings stolen by a fake rich kid, my kidney harvested, and dying in a rented house. My heart shuddered. I was very afraid that even if I changed this version, the plot would still force me to the arranged ending in another version. Ethan, if I ran away with your money and another man, what would you do? Ethan's voice was like a gloomy male ghost. Who is he? Oh. I'm just saying just chatting, don't get angry. Kill him, then catch you back and lock you up. Ethan's choice was different from the plot's arrangement. Even if we were born with a script, we still have to choose how to live our own lives. My life is up to me, not controlled by the script. I suddenly understood and wanted to kiss his lips. As a result, I kissed him crookedly on the nose. I won't run away with another man. What if that man is the richest man in the world? I hesitated for 3 seconds. Just those 3 seconds made Ethan very angry. It took me a lot of effort to coax him. I lay on his lap, putting on my most seductive act. Ethan, my mouth hurts, my chin hurts. You're bullying a blind person. Even if I couldn't see, I knew. Ethan at this time must be very sexy, with a lazy look on his face after being satisfied. What do you want to buy again? I originally wanted him to give me the penthouse in the city. Suddenly, inspiration struck. All along, I had ignored his feelings. After the intimacy, I would immediately ask him for benefits. He was actually unhappy, wasn't he? I said softly, I don't want anything. I just wanted to do this, to make you happy. Ethan smiled, a very happy smile. Why, when he's happy, am I more satisfied than buying a bag or a big gold bracelet? I hugged Ethan's waist and rubbed his belly with my face. Cat sucking on owner.jpg. The sun shone on us, warm and cozy. 12. A month later, the blood clot had completely dissipated, and my vision had returned to normal. At the shareholders' meeting, Ethan had me sit in the main seat, which was originally Horace Ethan's seat. The crowd was confused. I was also confused. I just kept eating the snacks on the table. One shareholder asked, "Mr. Ethan, what does this mean?" Ethan suddenly announced, "I'm giving Horace Ethan's shares to Ginger." Cough cough cough. I choked. Ethan patted my back casually. Some time ago, Ethan had me sign a bunch of documents and press a bunch of handprints. I didn't know he was giving me Horace Ethan's shares. That's a huge amount of wealth. I was simply rich overnight, instantly achieving a class leap. It was certain that no one in this world could give me more than Ethan. Even if the shareholders were jealous and unwilling, they couldn't disobey Ethan's will. It seems that Mr. Ethan is very fond of Miss Ginger. Is this a betrothal gift? Ethan said lightly, not much money, not enough to be considered a betrothal gift. The crowd was speechless. I fainted directly. When I fainted, I still had a peaceful smile on my face. I woke up smiling. When I woke up, I had already returned to Zhanhui Villa. Ethan said amusingly, "Is this all you're good for?" I rushed over and hugged Ethan, my mouth almost split from smiling. Why did you give me Horace Ethan's shares? A thank you gift for saving my life. Or, an apology for misunderstanding you as a spy. Ethan had naturally investigated clearly that I was not a spy that Horace Ethan had planted beside him. After Shayna learned that I had received Horace Ethan's shares, she went crazy with jealousy in her room. It's not like this, it shouldn't be like this. I was also at the clubhouse at that time. I should have saved him. Everything that Ginger has now should be mine. Why is it like this? When we villainous supporting actresses are triumphant, we naturally have to show off in front of the female lead, killing with words. Oh dear, I'm just lucky. I'm even more successful than you now. What are you so proud of? You're just a slut who uses sex to exchange for money. Slap. I slapped her. She covered her cheek. How dare you hit me? She raised her hand, wanting to slap me. I grabbed her wrist and slapped her again. These 2 slaps are to pay you back for pushing me. You got off easy. Shayna felt guilty and instantly became as quiet as a chicken. 2 slaps were of course not enough. I gave her a small gift. 13. I instructed my confidant to throw 10 big rats into Shayna's room. Ah! Shayna's screams echoed throughout the villa. She rushed out, terrified, and complained to Ethan. Mr. Ethan, Ginger threw a lot of rats into my room. Ethan's attitude towards her was cold. Solve these small matters yourself. Shayna glared at me resentfully. I shook the 8 big gold bracelets on my wrist, laughing triumphantly. Suddenly, I felt itchy by my feet. Looking down, a rat was about to nibble on my toe. I catapulted out, jumped onto Ethan, and broke down. Ah, Ethan. Hurry, have someone catch the rats. There are 10, can't be one less. Shayna mocked, this is called lifting a stone and smashing your own foot. All the servants in the villa were busy catching rats, making a mess. Before the 10 rats were caught, I was stuck on Ethan. Ethan carried me with one hand, still in the child-holding position, and walked into the yard. Ethan, are you laughing at me for being stupid in your heart? He patted my head, looking at me with a smile. Our Ginger won't harm people. How could I not harm people? As the comments said, I am a dark, jealous, and scheming woman. But when I think that I can't be with Ethan after doing evil, this poisonous woman puts away those cruel methods. Alas, he doesn't even know how much I've sacrificed for him. 14. Shooting Sports Hall. I had just changed my clothes and entered. Shayna was also there. She was really haunting. She had a male companion by her side. As soon as he appeared, I knew he was the fake rich kid. He's worthy of the bad karma that the plot arranged for me. Seeing him, my heart accelerated, and I felt like my soul was struck. So, when Ethan saw Shayna, did he have this feeling too? The plot made him love Shayna. But so far, he still only dotes on me. Seeing me staring at the man with my eyes unblinking, Shayna smiled unkindly. John Shaw is my college classmate. His family is a top-tier wealthy family in Singapore. So, Shayna introduced the fake rich kid to me. She knows I'm greedy for money. John Shaw is a scam tailored for me. Ethan was right. Her level is really high. Ethan came out after changing his clothes. Everyone's attention was instantly drawn to him. He had broad shoulders, a narrow waist, and long legs, exuding the aura of an abstinent and indifferent boss. Clearly, he is more handsome, more masculine, and better than John Shaw in every way. I'm really blind to have betrayed Ethan for the 3 white-eyed John Shaw. I raised my gun, pointing it at John Shaw. He was so scared that he collapsed on the ground. Stop! Ah, don't mess around. Bang! I hit the target behind him. Ethan, Shayna specifically introduced her college classmate to me, saying he's a top-tier wealthy family in Singapore. Ethan hates the appearance of rich people around me the most. He immediately had Secretary Chen investigate John Shaw's background. In less than half an hour, Secretary Chen found out that John Shaw was a professional swindler who had swindled many innocent girls. John Shaw was directly taken away by the police. Shayna cried like a pear blossom in the rain. Mr. Ethan? I really didn't know John Shaw was a swindler. He deliberately approached me, definitely to swindle my money. I want to thank you and Ginger for helping me expose him. Although Ethan was expressionless, he was already angry. According to my understanding of him, he would kick Shayna out of Zhanhui Villa. At that time, the underworld Prince Shan, without any scruples, will definitely forcibly imprison Shayna. I don't know what life-threatening danger the damn plot has arranged for Ethan. It's not yet time to kick Shayna away. I quickly said, I didn't say you deliberately set up a scam to cheat me. Look at how scared you are, your makeup is all smudged. Go fix your makeup. Shayna went to fix her makeup. Ethan looked surprised. She did something like this. Why are you keeping her? I pretended to be profound. Ethan, you're not powerful enough to see through everything, are you? This is a riddle I gave you. Before the answer is revealed, let her continue to live in our house. Ethan agreed. He repeatedly told me, there are many fake rich people and fake second-generation rich people out there now. Don't be silly and go with others. Even if they really have money, their money is just for you to look at, they won't really give it to you. I hooked my arm around his arm. Got it, I only like Ethan's money. Okay. 15. Ethan was going abroad on a business trip. My passport had a problem, and I couldn't go with him. Because I didn't know when and where he would be in danger, I had severe separation anxiety. Is it really necessary to go? This project is very big. I need to handle it personally. Then be careful and always bring bodyguards with you. Bodyguards can carry guns abroad. Arm them all. Okay, when I come back. I immediately covered his mouth, don't make any flags. I let go, and he leaned down to kiss me. It was a very lingering and passionate tongue kiss. Ethan, I want it. There's a little bit of time left. I could only reluctantly let him go. I don't know when it started, but I'm also very fascinated by him. After Ethan left, Shayna didn't show any intention of going abroad. Then he shouldn't be in danger on this trip. What I didn't expect was that the person in danger was me. Shayna actually colluded with Sean to kidnap me. Shayna ordered Sean, kill her for me. The plot. Please, heaven, distinguish the loyal from the treacherous. She's turned so evil, just strip her of her female lead halo. Logically speaking, Sean wouldn't dare to provoke Ethan. Unless, this underworld prince wanted to use me to threaten Ethan and kill him. Without the plot spoilers, I already knew. The life-threatening danger that Ethan was in this time was actually caused by the female lead. Seeing Sean unmoved, Shayna ordered imperiously, what are you waiting for? Hurry up. Sean grinned, kicked Shayna away. Shayna covered her stomach, spat out a mouthful of blood, and said incredulously, don't you love me? Why are you doing this to me? Sean had rings all over his face and stuck out his tongue, which also had a tongue ring. His eyes were like venomous snakes. Who told you I love you? I'm just a little interested in you and want to play with you. Only now did Shayna realize what kind of person she had provoked. But she was too self-conscious and refused to believe that Sean didn't love her either. No way. How could you not love me? You're playing hard to get, right? Idiot. I exposed her fantasy, there's not that much love. Do you think you're a fairy? That everyone has to love you and die for you. Masters can calculate it. How could he be threatened by you because of me? What's more, I'm just a gilded cage bird he's played with for 3 years. He might get tired of me at any time. Why don't you let me go, and we'll pretend nothing happened. I won't tell him, and he won't retaliate against you. Sean laughed, no, he loves you. I quibbled, no, he doesn't love me. The iron door opened, and Ethan walked in alone. Sean exclaimed excitedly, see? He loves you. 16. Sean has 30, no, 40 plus tattooed tough guys. It's over. We're doomed this time. I cursed, Ethan, why did your IQ suddenly drop offline? If you didn't come, I could still survive. Now that you're here, we're both going to bite the dust. Because I told him that I needed to see him at 10 o'clock, and for every minute that passed, I would cut off one of your fingers. He rushed back on a private jet. He's very punctual. I was stunned and didn't speak. I looked at Ethan deeply. You idiot, it's not worth putting yourself in danger for me. Ethan lit a cigarette, calm and collected, and glanced at his watch calmly. Let her go. Ha 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 ha. Sean's Yandra nature exploded, and he laughed, clutching his stomach. Ethan, you're meat on my chopping board now. What are you acting so crazy for? Sean grabbed my neck, squeezing tighter and tighter. You kneel down for me. I'll kneel, don't hurt her. Ethan frowned and knelt down. Sean was ecstatic. For years, I've been swallowing my anger in front of you, nodding and bowing like a grandson. I never thought you would kneel for me for a woman. Sean picked up an iron rod, rushed over, and smashed it at Ethan like a madman. Mr. Ethan. Mr. Ethan. Boss. Blood splattered. Playing with you should be more fun than playing with a fairy. Ethan's head and face were covered in blood, but he still didn't look disheveled. Sean shoved the bloody iron rod into my hands, smiling evilly. Come on, hit him. Hit him hard. I trembled and gripped the iron rod tightly. I am the most important. I've always been the best at weighing the pros and cons. The biggest taboo for a gilded cage bird is to give her heart. My eyes were about to split, and I swung the iron rod at his head with all my might. Blood dripped down Sean's forehead. But Ethan exchanged it with sincerity, and I am willing to give my heart. I've never dared to admit that I love him. Bitch, courting death. Sean snatched the iron rod from my hand and was about to smash it at me. I closed my eyes and covered my head. The expected pain didn't happen. Everyone's phones rang. After reading the messages, the 40-plus ferocious tattooed tough guys all showed horrified expressions. They rushed over and pinned down their prints. Sean was confused. What are you doing? The sounds of begging for mercy rose and fell. Mr. Ethan, please spare my mother. Mr. Ethan, please spare my daughter. Mr. Ethan, please spare my wife. Everyone has a weakness. Sean grabbed Ethan's weakness. Ethan grabbed the weaknesses of all his subordinates, causing all his men to betray him. This is the strength of a boss. Ethan stood up, walked to Sean, and shoved the iron rod into his throat. You're very good at courting death. Ethan at this moment was even more terrifying than Sean. This is what he really looks like when he's angry. Worthy of being the man I chose, so handsome. Ethan reached out to me, don't be afraid, come here. I immediately threw myself into his arms and hugged his waist tightly. 1,000 words are not as good as a hug. Ethan's muscles were tense. In fact, he was also very nervous, but it didn't show on his face. Secretary Chen and the bodyguards rushed in. Ethan dropped the iron rod, and his muscles finally relaxed. The doctor immediately stepped forward to treat his wounds. I checked his head with heartache. He was seriously injured. Ethan took my hand, it's okay. He had another doctor check my neck. I asked, what are you going to do with them? They broke the law, and the law will punish them. My punishment for them is that all the social resources they possess will completely disappear. Falling to the bottom is seeing hell. This is the living Yama. When Shayna becomes a pauper, she will know that some people have already used all their strength just to live. Just then, the comments reappeared. After Sean lost power, he was hacked to death by his enemies. Shayna exhausted the female lead's luck and no longer has the female lead halo. She will live a life of poverty and hardship. Perhaps, everyone's script is written when they are born. But in the end, what kind of life we live is our own choice. The comments disappeared. I am no longer the villainous supporting actress in someone else's story, but the heroine of my own life. 17. I planted cabbage in the yard, and Ethan accompanied me. While chatting, I told Ethan about the comments. He didn't think I was sick. Thinking about what had happened during this time, he found it reasonable and accepted it gladly. The script made me love Shayna, but my heart chose to love you. I sneakily took out my phone. Where the money is, there the love is. Ethan, I like this. Buy it for me. Ethan laughed. He cleared my shopping cart skillfully. I was happily scrolling through the items waiting to be received. He suddenly said, Ginger, would you like to marry me? This is what he wanted to say before he went abroad. I leaned into his arms, overjoyed. Ethan, I want a super big, super sparkly, pigeon egg diamond ring. Okay. The wedding dress must also be the most expensive and fashionable. Yeah. What are the betrothal gifts? Too many to remember. Secretary Chen will send you the spreadsheet. My life value ranking has changed, with the order of priority being, me, Ethan, money. Ethan is more important than money. I really love him so much.